As you may know, Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is finally here, and with Disney Plus's original Marvel shows now included, there will be more storylines than ever. So let's talk about some of the famous characters that will appear in Phase 4 but won't make it through. I'm really excited to discuss about MCU characters who will die in Phase 4 in today's video. Number 5. Black Widow. I know what you're thinking. Didn't Black Widow die in Phase 3? Well, hear me out. Black Widow technically died in Phase 3 of the MCU, surrendering her life to create the Soul Stone, allowing the remaining Avengers to restore half of the universe's population. I know her death was so devastating for me and so many other MCU fans. Her character had been building up to this moment since she told Loki in 2012's The Avengers that she had read in her ledger. Despite this, she's still in Phase 4 of the MCU, as her long-awaited standalone feature was released in theaters and on Disney Plus at the same time. The film takes place during Captain America: Civil War and Avengers: Endgame, with the post-credits scene taking place after Avengers: Endgame. Normally, it would be tempting to speculate that Black Widow would make a comeback. After all, this is superhero fiction, and death is a frequent occurrence. Who can say they weren't expecting a little bit that Yelena would get a reaction to her whistle at Natasha's tomb while seeing the Black Widow post-credits scene? If there were any concerns regarding the hero's final repose, Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit against Disney over the simultaneous release of Black Widow should put them to rest. Number 4. Drax. Okay, this one is not on MCU. The fact that Dave Bautista is no longer going to play Drax is maybe the most obvious reason why he might not make it through Phase 4. Bautista told Digital Spy in May 2021 that he believes the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will be his final appearance as Drax. He said later that month on The Ellen DeGeneres Show that the shirtless thing is getting harder and harder, among other reasons. In reaction to Bautista's similar remark, "There's no Drax for me without you, friend," wrote/directed James Gunn in response. "You are Drax the Destroyer from the Marvel Cinematic Universe." However, Bautista's feelings about the scenario aren't the only reason he could not make it to the end of the upcoming Guardians film. Drax's life's purpose, as defined by the Warrior since his first appearance in the MCU, came to a conclusion with the last battle of Endgame. There are no more targets for Thanos' revenge now that Ronan and Thanos are both gone. It's the ideal occasion to give Drax a heroic warrior death, dying to preserve the Guardians' rediscovered family. Some fans also believe he is still alive in the next phase, but that is still up in the air at the moment. If that is the truth, then perhaps he will simply be written out with a happy ending. But if it was just a wild rumor, then I'd lay money that Drax turns invisible for good.
I'm sure I'm invisible.
Hi, Drax.
Number 3. Spider-Man. If Marvel and Sony failed to reach an agreement to extend Spider-Man's MCU deal, and he heads to Sony for the third film in John Watt's trilogy, if he signs on himself, and now that he's bowed out, the only way for him to never appear again is for something catastrophic to happen off-screen. The Disney collaboration will persist for a long time. Perhaps I'm still skeptical after that crazy month when Spider-Man was set to be written out of the MCU entirely to become a part of the There For Anyverse, and my fear is hard to shake. I could see a situation where the business side of things deteriorates to the point where the MCU kills off their version of Peter Parker and voila, a brand new version of Peter Parker. I know, I'm sorry for this one. Anyways, hopping on to the next one because this is too sad. Number 2. Thor. Thor's character underwent a dramatic transformation as a result of Norse deity mythology. Sure, Norse deity was constantly entertaining, but that third film leaned entirely on Chris Hemsworth's natural comedic temporal order and was primarily Taika Waititi, which Pine Tree State finds painful to mention. I believe the Asgardian will pass through the gates of heaven sooner rather than later in his next film. Norse deity Love and Thunder can introduce a new mighty Norse deity in Jane Foster, and once that's done, can there truly be a place for OG Norse deity? Because yeah, I buy it. I like this refashion of the Norse deity character because he is not only the funniest character within the MCU, however, he has also been through the ringer and has suffered, I feel, more than anyone. Obviously it's between him and Wanda, but it's because he's so fascinating that I believe he should die. A Norse god is deserving of a chance. What does one suppose when Jane is in the spotlight, and I don't think she'll be able to take center stage while the Norse deity continues to roam around. Like, come on. Number 1. Hulk.
Dr. Banner. Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
I'm always angry.
never had another standalone Hulk feature with Mark Ruffalo in the MCU due to sophisticated offering, and I believe it impacted the character in the long run. His cameos were wonderful, but it felt like his tale was leading to a closure that we simply didn't get. Bruce Banner simply does not have an area within the MCU any longer. Why not give him an epic send-off within the She-Hulk TV program instead of simply having him be a supporting, fading character? The MCU has moved past the Hulk. They already custom-made the Earth Hulk plot as close as they could, and Norse deity myth associate nursing now that they will have a replacement awe-inspiring star in She-Hulk. Honorable mention: Vision. Vision technically died at the end of Phase 3 in the Eternity War, which means he died twice. First, Wanda had to kill him in order to destroy the Eternity Stone, and if that wasn't enough, Thanos brought him back a fraction of a second later to kill him everywhere again. Don't you think that is the most brutal death the MCU has ever given in the United States? In fact, if you've watched WandaVision, which I'm sure we've all seen, it's clear that things aren't as simple or clear-cut as they appear as we race towards the show's finale. It's clear that Vision will most likely die once more by the tip conveyance, bringing his total to 3 times. I sincerely hope that this pattern continues in the future films, where a Vision is brought back to life only to die in a progressively associate-degreed, more humorous ways, such as the 8th time he is resurrected, perhaps Hulk sits on him, the 9th time someone removes his AA batteries, and so on.